So hello and welcome. And as a way of introducing today's topic, there are people in the ancient world, the time of the Buddha, who referred to the Buddha as a teacher of action. And in a way that is pretty accurate. That in teaching that with his Buddha's teachings on inconstancy, change, and permanence, the core change that he was most emphasizing was the dynamic activity of our inner life. That our inner life is nothing static. There's no inherent essence that's kind of like a kernel of something permanent, like a soul. But rather there might be an inherent harmony, inherent sensitivity, inherent depth to the process nature of our inner life. That it's constantly dynamic, constantly flowing and moving and dynamic, complex system of relationships between all the different parts of who we are. And it's an activity, it's action, it's dynamism. And what we're doing part here is not judging what's there. We're not essentializing anything. We're not reifying anything. This is how it really is. This is who I am. If you have an itch, you're then not forever an itcher, and that becomes your identity. If you have anger or sadness, that doesn't essentially define who you are. It's just an activity. It's part of the process that's unfolding now. And we hold it all broadly, widely, in this wide field of attention that can hold it all without locking into any one thing. That this is it. This defines who I am. This defines reality. This is what's happening. There's no locking in. There's a kind of participating in this dynamic, rich field of action, of activity. And some of that activity, we have a role in shaping. We have a role in holding. And some of it, our primary role is to allow it to be there, not identify with it, not pick it up, not participate. And in the process, we come into a kind of a harmony, deep harmony, deep unification of all the different parts. A unification that's only possible if we appreciate how dynamic it is, how we don't have our thoughts get locked in, or we don't get locked into our thoughts. And so this sense of the dynamic whole, where there's many parts, and part of this dynamic whole, there's parts of us that do get caught. And at the same time, side by side, there's parts of us that are free. There are parts of us that have ill will, and right next to it are parts of us that have goodwill, have love. And to broaden the heart wide enough to hold it all, so that then we can gently leave alone that which is unwholesome and go along with what is wholesome. Go along with that holds it all in a healthy, kind, supportive way. So that the whole, the way we hold it, the way we relate to it all is with goodwill, kindness. The way we hold it all is without any animosity, any hostility, any diminishing or demeaning of any part of our experience. It's all included in the whole, even if in including it, we leave it alone. So assume a meditation posture, and the posture is meant to be a wide open field, container of our global experience. The posture is not incidental, it's not just a means to meditate. It's the temple for meditation. So with your eyes closed, to feel the global sense of your body, whatever way that's easy for you. Letting your attention roam around the body, let your attention broaden throughout the body, having a panoramic view. Have the mind's eye gently, lazily roam around the body. And then within this body, as part of your bodily experience, taking some deeper, fuller breaths to also give you a broad global awareness of your torso. And as you exhale, a little longer than normal, relaxing the body, releasing the holding. Letting the breathing return to normal. And see if you can have now a global awareness of your mind. A panoramic view of where you don't land on any one aspect of the mind, where you don't see the mind through the lens of a particular attitude. But a wide, open view of the mind and all its different activities. And as you exhale, relaxing the thinking mind. And in this wide field of body and mind, the activity, the action that you contribute is very simple. To calmly know what's happening. To calmly sense, feel what's happening. All the while, that you stay centered in the body, breathing. The rhythm of breathing in and breathing out keeps you close to the present moment. And that combination of being here in the present with your breathing and calmly knowing and feeling the global experience gives a chance to move your inner life to a kind of harmony, unification, peace. If you are thinking, notice how that narrows the field of silent awareness. Open wide. Have the field of awareness be as global, panoramic as you can. Maybe as if looking into the vast night sky. And thoughts are simply meteorites moving through the sky. Let them be alone. Let them shine and burn out in the vast sky-like mind that can hold it all. by knowing calmly, sensing, feeling calmly, being mindful calmly, we begin to leave things alone, to unstick ourselves, to make breathing room for all things, as if the calm, knowing, allows things to come into harmony. And as we come to the end of this sitting, similar to how we began, see if there can be a global awareness of your body, wide, panoramic, with the inner eye roaming around, or the inner eye vast, like the looking into the night sky. And a panoramic global view of the mind that holds it all, where all things have permission to be there. The only action you do is to choose to be aware of it all. And in this global awareness, might you have a stronger connection to avoid causing harm, getting swept into hostility or ill will, resentment, or even less inclined to be devoted to sensual pleasures, to desires, because all those things diminish the global well-being. And may it be, as this meditation comes to an end, that you are able to stay connected to a deep sensitivity, a deep knowing and knowledge, that you lose so much of yourself if you succumb to ill will, resentment, anxiety, greed, desires. And that the best of who you are is more available in a calm, broad awareness. And may the best of who you are be shared with the world. May all beings be happy. May all beings be safe. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be free. Thank you. Hello and welcome to this fifth talk on the Noble Eightfold Path. And today's topic is the fourth fold, right action. And maybe it's a little bit simplistic or silly, but I love the idea that as we go through the Eightfold Path, we're unfolding a piece of paper or cloth that's really tightly folded up into a small little tight bundle. And, and we're unfolding it, freeing it, letting something become more open and clean and available for the wider world, available for ourselves. That living with the Eightfold Path is not a limitation, but rather it's moving into something that's more unlimited, unlimited in its freedom, unlimited in not having any kind of tight boundaries that limit who we are. And the Buddha just said that what limits us, what creates boundaries, is an excessive preoccupation with me, myself, and mine. Excessive preoccupation with attachments and clinging and ill will and hostility and desires, and to understand, begin to appreciate that there is another way of living. And the Eightfold Path is at the heart of it, is not a prescription of what we're supposed to do, but a description of how we live when we're free, when we have this deep, deep sensitivity that includes all of who we are. And we really know, we recognize, we take the time, we have the space, we have the practice, we have the capacity to stay in the present moment fully enough to recognize that right here there is also freedom. Right here there's also a kind of presence that allows a fullness of intelligence, of care, of love, of respect for others, respect for ourselves to be available. We're not going headlong into the future. We're not going swept up by the beliefs and the angers, the hurts, the frustrations, the desires that we might have. But we understand there's a much better thing to do, to open up wide, to feel all of it, and to know, to sense, to experience freedom right here, to experience compassion and goodwill and love and care, not as something we're supposed to do, but something that we naturally kind of feel if we really bring all of ourselves into the situation. And when we do this and know that there's a real world of difference between collapsing, collecting, tightening up around the activities that cause suffering, that cause stress, versus not doing so, and staying connected to that capacity that doesn't suffer, either because we see it right next to it, clinging, suffering, absence of clinging, absence of suffering, they're both there, or more importantly, we see that the global awareness that holds both is itself a kind of freedom. It's itself a whole different category of freedom, of peace. And that leads us to avoid doing things that harm ourselves, limit ourselves, that we lose touch with something profound that we know. And at the same time, we don't harm others, because we know harming others harms them. They're like us. And we don't want to harm other people and limit their lives. And partly because if we do that, we know we're limiting ourselves. We're so deeply connected to others. We can't kind of relate to others in any kind of way without that reinforcing, building, creating a certain kind of inner landscape for ourselves. And we're responsible for this inner landscape by what we act on, what we do. And so the fourth step of the Eightfold Path I call holistic action, usually called right action. And I love this, that right in the middle of the Eightfold Path is this emphasis on action. The Buddha was a teacher of action. And this is not about a passive life in the forest kind of, or in a cave or something. This is how we're going to live in this world. The Eightfold Path is about being in the world. It's not about retreating from the world, but it is about retreating from greed, hate, and delusion. It is about finding an alternative way of living and participating in this world. And so here we come to the holistic action. what is the action that takes into account the whole of ourselves, the whole of the social situation, the whole of uh, the consequences and the ripple effects of our actions. And so here, there's three things that the Buddha defines as holistic action. And they're all listed in the negative. So the advantage, sometimes people are surprised by how often many of the goals in Buddhism are described the absence of something. That does two things. It's very concrete, very specific, the action of something. This, you don't do this. But also it leaves wide open the alternative. Almost like it doesn't need to define the alternative. If you do this, then you can just live your life in this open way. You don't have to have a particular code of conduct that you're supposed to do this, but rather you live then into the world from this holistic view. So the three things that are called holistic action, and it is a kind of activity, even though it's an absence, is not killing. Not killing living beings. It's a radical thing. It's a revolutionary thing, given how much killing of beings is part of human life. Killing other human beings, killing animals. That the whole killing is so central to much of what humans do. And whether this teaching of not killing is meant to be universal, to no animals at all, no humans at all. Is there just wars or just killing? Is there appropriate? This is a complicated question. It's a question of the heart, not the mind. And so what happens when the heart is expansive? And we know we have to take care of many things that are maybe in conflict with each other. So as many of us will have to grapple with this, but I love it that people are grappling with this teaching. Don't kill. It's the first precept, don't kill. For the Eightfold Path, right action is not a precept, it's not a command, rather remember it's a description. So something about a liberated heart, something about a deep sensitivity of a heart that a person is not going to kill. And some people, it's a gradual process that they felt, okay, not now, not this, not this. I remember when I was quite young, we used to go fishing. At some point, I just couldn't do that anymore. No more fishing. I didn't want to kill the fish. And so not to kill. The second is not to steal. It's usually worded not to take what is not given. If it belongs to someone else, don't take it unless it's offered. And so, again, many of us don't steal overtly, but perhaps the lifestyles we live, the products we consume, that we buy, somehow have been procured in ways that maybe are not ethical. And then there is, the last one is avoiding sexual misconduct. And this is more nuanced and certainly complicated, but the idea here is you don't cause harm through your sexuality. And what sexual behavior looks like is left quite open as long as it's not causing harm. So all three of these, not killing, not stealing, not causing sexual harm, involve not harming. Not as you can adopt these as a precept. You can adopt these as a training, you kind of logically feel this is really good, really important. You can be devoted to it, dedicated to it out of faith. But as an eightfold path, this fourth fold has opened up to a deeper sensitivity, that we understand something profound about the nature of the heart, the mind, and what happens when we get involved with the kind of unwholesome mind states, the unwholesome clinging, attachment that is required in order to kill, steal, and engage in deliberate sexual misconduct. And we really know, and it's not a matter of following a precept or a rule. It's following the peace, the freedom, the deep love that exists within us, that becomes a guide for how we live our life. Of course, there might be times when we have strong feelings of hostility, and you might even feel like you want to kill someone, at least as metaphorically. You might feel strong feelings of wanting to take something, steal, or involved in sexual misconduct. Of course, human beings have all kinds of thoughts and impulses. As we open the folds of the mind, the more it's folded up, the more we don't see what goes on, the operating principles. The more we unfold the mind, unfold the heart, and we see clearly, we see how harmful it is to ourselves to close up again, to tighten up again, to get all folded up and preoccupied with something, and to be able to live an unpreoccupied life, and to stay unpreoccupied, to be able to see the Eightfold Path as an expression of our freedom, more than a path to freedom. So, right, or holistic action. So, we'll continue on Monday, and with the rest of the folds, and thank you for being part of this.